Okay. A slight trigger warning. Okay, I've had a rough morning. I've had a rough morning. But I hope everyone's having fun. I should know better than to post on x.com because that's where the hordes of incels hang out, so I learned my lesson. I never knew that saying if a person's drunk they can't consent is so problematic of me, but here we are. I'm getting dragged through the mud, which is fine. It says more about them than it does about me. Obviously, like, this is always something that I've been really passionate about, is, standing with victims and stuff like that, and that's because I am one. And I don't think I've ever said this on stream. I actually just said it, out loud for the first time not too long ago. But when I was in college, I was raped. And it's been something that I've really struggled with for a lot of years. In silence. And I felt ashamed and I felt embarrassed. And it breaks my heart that other people feel that way or feel alone. And so I've always been really passionate about these things. You guys know that. I don't want people to feel alone. And unfortunately, there is a lot of us. We're not alone. But yeah, this is something that I've really had to kind of work through in my life. And I just wanted to say it. I've never said it out loud before to you guys. But it just felt like something that I wanted to say for myself. But I think it's just really upsetting kind of seeing how people are treating consent and things like that online right now. The internet is not a forgiving, nice place at all. But sorry, I'm just reading through the responses. They're horrible. It's concerning how many people don't understand basic consent. But yeah, I've kind of felt inspired to be open about my own story. Not to go into detail. I won't be going into detail or anything like that. Just for me to say the words. Just so I can, for myself, just be open about that. And it's disappointing that, like, people that I know and are in my circle, a lot of things are coming out about this stuff, and the responses to it are just pretty terrible, I would say. I mean, as someone who is a victim, not from those people, but in my own life, I would just like to address some things. I think what Dream said on his Reddit or whatever is really, really dangerous to say. I think that people expressing that someone did not consent to touching or cuddling because they did not verbally speak it is extremely dishonest. I don't think it is dishonest to ask for verbal consent, especially when drinking, when, like I said, if a person's drunk, they can't consent, but I just think that is extremely, extremely dangerous to say, and to push that to these young girls who will probably, unfortunately, experience something like this in their life, to make them believe that, no, you're not a victim of this. You're not, because yeah, it's like, that is so dangerous to say. And this,
the person that I was in this sexual experience with at all. I have no negative thoughts on them. I simply did not like how it ended up, and if I could go back and not do it, I wouldn't have. I wanted to do it in the moment, but then changed my mind later, which is completely valid. You're completely allowed to feel that way. But what isn't okay, and I think is just completely unfair, is to act as if I am the bad person in this scenario because you changed your mind later.
to act like I'm the bad person in this scenario because you changed your mind later. It that is very also dangerous to say. And as a victim, I have been sexually assaulted, I have been raped, I have been many things. That is disgusting to say. Because many victims are told, you weren't raped, you weren't sexually assaulted, you just changed your mind. You just regretted it. And that's not true. That's not true at all. So, it's really dangerous for people with a large following to say things like that, and I think it's important to really have everyone fully understand consent. And how saying something like that can be really damaging, especially to victims, not just your own victims, but people who have experienced this in the past. It's insulting. But yeah, so many victims don't realize what happened for a long time, or don't want to believe that that actually happened. And it's scary. And I just think that it's just unacceptable, to be honest, to say things like that. Yeah. And people say like, "Oh, I'm inserting myself for likes and all of this stupid shit," but I feel it very personally. I feel this, and I feel strongly about this. And it's not for likes, it's not for, that's so stupid. It's sticking up for, what's right. I think that's just ridiculous. But yeah, people expect people to act a certain way when you are abused, when you are assaulted, when you are raped. There's no one way to react to that. You can't tell victims how they feel, and you can't tell them how to react to the situation. Yeah. I've done a lot of healing, and a lot of therapy, and taking steps to kind of, but I just want to thank everyone who came out and told their stories, because like it really is empowering to hear other people be able to talk about this, openly, and have people be so supportive. Yeah. But yeah, it was something I was really afraid of saying out loud for a long time. So thank you guys for listening. It's kind of something that I just needed to get off my chest, I guess. But I don't have much else to say. I'm just disappointed in the way that people are handling the situation, or I don't know the correct word, diminishing how important consent is. And to brush it off, and to say, well, she didn't look uncomfortable, she was enjoying, like, critically thinking, we know that that's bullshit. I think most of us can recognize, to say that, oh, well, she looked like she was enjoying it. People really just lack empathy. It's really sad to see where we're at in the world.
I just think it's completely unfair to judge me and my actions based on how you feel about it now, 8 months later, versus how you felt at the time. Because at the time, you were not uncomfortable with it. And I know I'm repeating myself a million times, but I have to. You were smiling, happy, laughing, playing along with it, everything.